Hey guys, marketing your ceramic coating services the right way is crucial to your business. We've supported C-Court since 2012, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how you can too. Stick around for advice on branding your company, co-branding with CARPRO, and most importantly, how consistent branding will work for you and your company. So you might be wondering, why did we decide to put this video together? What's the purpose here, and how did we come up with this idea? The reasoning behind this was, let's go back about 5 or 6 years. So 5 or 6 years ago, CARPRO greatly upgraded their branding to what you see in front of you, these beautiful bottles and labels, and you can see the consistency of the design on each label, the fonts, all these things. And what we noticed, even out of our certified installers and different detailers that we work with, what we've noticed over the past 5 years and even up until today is that sometimes people have the CARPRO spelled or shown wrong. They'll have a capital C and a capital P, and the rest of the letters will be lowercase, or C-Courts instead of all uppercase. Anyway, there's a bunch of different ways that it's done wrong or done the way it was 5 or 6 years ago. And so as we were thinking about that, we thought, okay, if guys are not even aren't even finding that important to do that correctly, then they may not know, and they may be having the same negative effect on their own brands. So we thought it'd be of great service to you guys if we went ahead and put this video together and heavily emphasize how important consistency and branding is for your company. If you're wondering, how do I correctly co-brand with CARPRO? We have all of the assets that you need for that, the correct font, the correct logos, all of those materials. You're going to find a link below to access those. And if you have any questions, just leave comments below. We'll be happy to answer those. As far as your own brand goes, it's obviously very important as well to have a consistent brand, consistent fonts and logos and styling and colors in your brand. So if you, for instance, on your website have, if you use the Times New Roman font or whatever it is, and then in your brochures you use a different font, and then over here you use this color, but over here you use slightly a different color, all those things, and CARPRO has been guilty of it at times, but they've consistently improved and done a really great job, and we've learned a lot through that process. But with your own brand, if you have those little inconsistencies, it can really greatly affect your marketing and your entire company. So let's talk a little bit about colors in your logo, and specifically in your logo. We could go further than that, but hey Josh, can you show them your shirt? Check this out. So you can see, normally show them on your sleeve there. So there's the Sky's the Limit logo. This is something you want to try to avoid. Thank you so much. So this is something you want to try to avoid, but you never want more than 2 logos. Like you want one primary logo. And so you should focus on that one primary logo. And this is the logo that we came up with for Sky's the Limit Car Care. We've got the gradient of colors. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors here, plus white. That's 6 colors. The problem comes in when you go to make shirts, when you go to make bags, shopping bags, whatever different materials you go to make. This becomes very expensive and sometimes impossible to do. It's not something that we use on our website. It's not something that you'll find on our brochures. You'll see it very few places. It's not our primary logo. That's our secondary logo when we have to use it. In general, for a lot of companies, if you're not running into situations like that where you have to have packing tape and stuff like that, then that's not something you have to worry about. Or if you're creating your logo, you might come up with a specific logo that doesn't have all those colors in the first place. That's something to definitely think about when you're designing your logo if you don't have one already. But needless to say, once you come up with this, you don't want this to change or these different colors to be different once you've done that. And the reason for that is twofold. One, obviously, you want people to recognize you. When they see it, you want them to see it and know that's you. If they see one slightly different, it starts to add confusion, and it starts to destroy, on a psychological level, it starts to destroy your brand in people's minds. So there's a lot of depth to that. We could recommend a book on that if you're interested, but that's basically the whole thing with colors. With fonts, it's the same thing. It's just having that consistency so that people, as soon as they see something, they say, oh, I know who that is. So we're going to get back into CARPRO specifically and some of the ways that we expect anybody working with CARPRO co-brands. And one of the focuses with that is honesty in selling ceramic coatings. There's some companies out there that don't have any hesitancy to say whatever they need to say to sell a ceramic coating, and that's not our business. But if you're working with CARPRO coatings, and I would recommend, if for your own benefit, working with any coating, that you focus on the facts and focus on reality. Of course, marketing is one thing. Honest marketing is kind of, how can I say the truth in a way that will grab people's attention, but not lie. And so there's a fine line eventually there. It's a tough, especially in today's day and age where nobody wants to watch in-depth stuff about stuff like this. They just want to see that clickbait. And when we're putting out these YouTube videos, it's always something we have to look at, because we see other YouTube channels out there that have the clickbait lines, and we don't ever want to do that. To us, it just feels like, I don't feel good falling asleep at night if I have stuff it's a dishonest thing to grab your attention. And that's the same thing with all marketing. When you're writing a product description, there's times when we really make that grab your attention, and sometimes it's borderline, but you have to make sure you're at least not lying. And when you're talking to your customers, you want to give them the whole story. You want to give them the best case, the worst case, depending on what that client is asking for. If they just want simple answers and they want to get it done, then that's one thing. But if you have a client that's asking you for information about things, then you need to make sure you're delivering them honest information. Good example is C-Quartz UK. CARPRO says on here 2 years. I'm pretty sure it says on that box that that's what we've been talking about for 10 years. So it says 2 years, but in reality, anybody that's been using C-Quartz UK for more than 2 years knows that it most often lasts a lot longer than 2 years. It's a much bigger story. It's, how do you wash the car? Does it sit outside 24/7? Does it sit in the garage 24/7? It's all these conditions and all these things that are going to have an effect on how long it actually lasts. So the easy thing to do is say, this is a 5-year coating, this is a 3-year coating, this is a 10-year coating, this is this. And it just doesn't do it justice. This is a 10-year coating. If it sits in the garage, it's a 50-year coating. If it sits in the garage and never comes out, that's the truth. It just sits in the garage. There's nothing to wear it down, But you can't tell customers that if that's not what they're most likely to experience. So you want to give them a realistic expectation and tell them, although you don't want to drone on about it and lose them, you do want to tell them, hey, this is the best case, this is the worst case, this is what you're likely to expect on this. And keep it short, succinct, but be honest with your customers. Whenever you're promoting CARPRO products in general or specifically, that's something that we really care about, and we would appreciate that people do that as well. All right, guys, so one more item that we wanted to discuss, and this is a little off topic, but we thought it would be really good, and that's with regards to pricing. When it comes to pricing your services, some guys get a little bit confused as far as what they should charge, or there's just a wide array of different people charging different things. And it's confusing for the customer, for your client, to know what they're getting when you have some people out there charging $5,000 and doing incredible work that's worth every penny, and then other guys that are not even polishing the car charging $5,000 and they're just really good salesmen. You don't want to be one of the second in that second camp. There's other guys that are charging $200 and doing $200 work. There's guys that are charging $200 and doing $3,000 work, and so it can be very confusing. So when it comes to pricing, you want to take into account, you can't just, if you're new to the business and you think, well, that guy's charging $3,000 for that package, I should charge that too. Well, not necessarily. That guy that you're looking at, he may have many years of experience. He may have invested in many training classes that each costed thousands of dollars, paying for travel to get there, hotels, and just years of fully immersing himself in the field. So if you aren't putting forth that level of quality yet, then it's really important that you charge what is really fair to the customer. Sell what is honest, like we discussed, and then charge accordingly and improve your quality of work so that you can charge more. And when you get to that point where you're able to pump out an amazing quality of work job in 8 hours in what used to take you 32 hours, you don't need to bring your price down. You don't say, okay, now it only took me 8 hours, so now 8 times whatever that pay is, now I should just charge $800 instead of $3,200, or whatever the number is. No, you've earned that over the years. You've earned that with the money you've invested in your training and your craft. So you should be selling your service for what it's worth, and it's worth all of that stuff you've put into it, which is hard to measure. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed already, please be sure to do so. If you have any questions or comments, leave those below and we'll answer. We always appreciate the constructive criticism, the offhand remarks, whatever it is, we love it. So fire away, we don't mind. If there's anything we can do for you guys, feel free to email us or call us anytime. We're here for you. We really appreciate you guys watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.